Hello and welcome back, folks, to our final game here at EGF for this week for Overwatch. It's going to be DePaul versus University of Colorado, and I'm expecting perhaps a little bit more of a brisk-paced matchup between these two teams here, Twin Salty.
Yeah, on paper, it's not as close as the last one was. As that was a heck of a match we got from RIT and Delaware. This one, you have DePaul, who they're starting to get the groove a little bit. They won their first game of the season 2 weeks before the fall split ended. Then you have Colorado, the only undefeated team left in the entirety of EGF. So it's on paper it's lopsided, but as we saw in the last game, teams are a little bit rusty right now, trying to get back into the motion. Some people aren't fully back at school, so maybe DePaul throws something out. I'm not sure. At this point, throw something on the wall. If it sticks, awesome. If not, you just got to keep going.
Yeah, I mean, of all the teams, I think that this is the most ideal spot for any one team to fight against Colorado. It goes exactly back to what we've been talking about kind of throughout this entire broadcast here involving you and I. It comes to that game of rust. Colorado's probably not going to be as sharp as we saw them leaving off on the very back end. So if you're a team that's been grinding over that semester break, if you're a team that's really been putting the work in and doing your research, you have a huge opportunity to take a matchup against Colorado, something that no other team has done. And that alone itself would be a huge accomplishment. I don't know if DePaul is necessarily going to be the team to chalk that up, but I do think that they still have opportunities to take maps here, and sometimes that can still be a difference maker in and of itself.
Even if you get, let's say, the first round on Nepal, if you at least get 50% first round and maybe you win the second round, you're getting your foot in the door to at least try and make something of this. And I don't know. I'm very curious to see what DePaul can do. I have faith. You never know. Maybe that's Caster cursing it right now when they're just not going to have a chance in Nepal. I hope not. But going back to the games, we were like, oh, watch these amazing games as they're on Dorado. Both ended 3-1. UT Arlington survives the scare from Wichita State. St. John's beats UT Knoxville. So very curious to see how those games go next week, as we'll talk about maybe a little bit later on. But Colorado and Arlington have a history, and they go against each other next week, and that might just be like the match of the season, a rematch of the season. But for now, we'll come back to this. Going to Nepal for map number 1, and we're going to be heading over to Village.
Of course, we're going to be seeing Nepal, Kings Row, Hanamura to start things off, and if necessary, we'll see Dorado Lijiang a little bit later, but before we work on dessert, we got to work on the main course here, Twin, as we look at these teams getting ready to run out of spawn. And interestingly enough, unlike last map, so far we're not seeing any maze come out, not a lot of map editing in those tight spaces right onto point.
Yeah, you're just going to be trying to go right away, and both of these teams, very different than what we saw in our first matchup. Yes, Yahoo will be on the Symmetra and going to be teleporting out, but DePaul has the pharmacy combo looking out. Colorado has the Wrecking Ball Diva look with a Brig and Zed, a little bit more of a spread out comp, not as much of a death ball, but it doesn't matter. They still get the first pick.
You got to get up pretty early in the morning to get shots off on Cloud. With that Ashe coming through, we've seen this player come through time and time again, and it doesn't look like Semester has so far harmed their performance. That dive trying to come in from Zafe, but not going to quite connect. That coach gun knocking them back, kind of leaving them in a little bit of a no man's land. And DePaul so far having success in making sure that they can get that first point presence. Colorado, however, once again, going to be coming in, allowing their DPS time to carve up the rest of the enemy team. Robot One Trick going to be getting 1 kill. The question remains, does it seem to be enough for Colorado to maintain this presence? And so far, it does seem like it's going to go their way. Eventual cleanup means the eventual point flip.
Yeah, Cloud just popped off that fight, already 88% to Bob. So Bob will probably be used during this next fight, but they're playing chess, not checkers. DePaul, yeah, you capture the point first, you get 20%, but Colorado's going to take it right back. And now for DePaul, can you really get into this point and set up your side? I wasn't going to say Symmetra, but Valak is going to be now off of the Symmetra onto the Junkrat, which I could see him maybe working a little bit to try and deal with Ruby and Funkmaster, but I'm not sure I was going to match up against Cloud and Yahoo.
I even disagree against that. Volak gonna have to hit very fast moving targets, very nimble targets coming through from Colorado, and Those nimble targets going to be looking to strike aggressively. Cloud does go down, but you still have 5 members remaining if you're on the side of DePaul. You use your Valk as well, not able to keep your team alive. Obscure, not going to have that nano to throw out this fight, but will have it for next if they decide.
Yeah, gonna have it on the ready, and Colorado, they're picking up right where they left off. It seems like already 50% onto this point. They haven't, the only ult they've had to use is Bob, and that is it, is Volak. Just trying to get any value off this giant, trying to poke out Cloud, and to be fair, does in the long run actually gets 2. So maybe this is where Colorado maybe stumbles a bit.
That may have been a little bit of a misread coming in from Colorado. I'm not sure you want to walk into small hallways with a Junkrat firing pills away, but Ruby looking to equalize things just a little bit, taking down both the DPS. That Junkrat not going to be able to do that big burst damage, but who else but Ruby to hold this point, still in favor of Colorado. And now they're going to be allowed to get their team regrouped with them. That ball's coming in, that break's coming in, and they're cleaning up. That game's so close with the Diva Bomb. Game changer.
Yeah, Ruby, she cleans it up. She saves the fight for Colorado, and now 90% and counting. DePaul just needs somebody to touch, let alone try and win this fight. Minefield can be used up top to make sure nobody can go that way. Forces everybody down main. Does anybody even touch this point? The answer to that's no. All of them get desperately close, but getting booped away. In Colorado, they're looking pretty good still as they win round 1.
Yeah, if nothing else, maybe the coordination, the game theory of Colorado rusting a little bit, but the individual performance that we're seeing, Cloud, Ruby, already putting on some very good clips for us. So I don't think that these players have allowed themselves to get rusty, but when you can't talk with your teammates, that's always going to be a part of it. DePaul, however, still looking pretty rough.
Yeah, looking a bit rough, but hopefully they can kind of clean a few things up here as we enter the second round, and you just never know. I think this is Village again, isn't it?
Yeah, we do have there's a camera glitch where sometimes the camera will stay on the submap you just played. So if we were to hop over to one of the characters, there we go. It goes right next into Sanctum. Still here. And now it's going to be that Torbjorn coming out, trying to deal a lot of damage. But Colorado doesn't seem like they're going to be falling for too much of it, despite that dive being a little bit more susceptible than a normal rush comp, a normal bunker comp might be. Colorado getting those initial kills, and Cloud just tucking in with this Reaper, initially getting some meaty, chunky shots onto Noob, taking them down. And DePaul has to back up as much as they can just to avoid any late staggers.
Yeah, and it's an NA production, everybody. It's first week back. It's stay with us. It wasn't even. It was kind of a little bit of a game mishap, but Boulder still looking as good as ever here. And Volak does get one Death Blossom over the top. Not really able to get anything, but it does damage enough for the rest of their team to follow it up. And Colorado just still pushing forward, and they're not slowing down from where they left off in the fall split, looking to keep the undefeated record alive. And DePaul, you have a few ultimates coming up, so you got to use them pretty wisely, because you need to have as little mistakes as possible if you want a chance to win.
I get worried for DePaul here. We're already starting to see some good technique coming up from Colorado in the context of ultimate layering or ultimate switching. We're not seeing those ultimates all come out at once, and I fear that that's what DePaul might try to lean on. We see the Coalescence come out now from Divination. That's the one ultimate for this fight. Boulder going to try to succeed just off the back end of that. They do pop the Primal as well, but a huge opportunity for the rest of their team to build up more ultimates. Volak eventually falls, and once again, for the cost of only a few ultimates, they're able to win the fight. DePaul now has to save everything up.
Yeah, and Robot One Trick used the grab during that fight to maybe try and bring it back, and they get taken out. In Colorado, their ult economy is so good, they already have 3 more ultimates back on the ready, and I wouldn't be surprised if Coalescence is back up soon just because of how fast you can build it. In Colorado, they're going to keep the aggression. They're going to try and pick a target and just focus them down. Here comes EMP, Diva Bomb over the top, and it gets 2.
The EMP bomb getting a double. Ruby able to help secure the victory for their team, and now we're seeing University of Colorado get a little bit too heavy-handed with those ultimates, but it doesn't matter. They're going to be wiping the board of DePaul.
Yeah, they're just wiping them clean. DePaul, they have not even been able to use 4 of their 6 because they haven't been able to get in a position where they feel comfortable. And now you have to have somebody touch point. I honestly don't know if anybody can at this point. You really don't have anybody with high mobility. Yeah, the answer is no. Nobody touches the point. It is what, 120, 100-0. Colorado still kicking.
Colorado, again, looking very strong. I made the comment about the team play not looking that great on the first round, or at least the game strategy not looking that great, but they really turned it around on Sanctum. Huge plays once again coming in from Ruby. Well deserved for this play of the game, for holding that point almost solo. I don't want to give away all the credit if it wasn't, entirely earned by Ruby herself, but either way, a great performance from Colorado, really shining. And we can already see that they're already starting to shake off some of the game rust from map to not even from map to map, from sub-map to sub-map.
Yeah, from round to round, it was like, yes, they still played extremely well. Like that very first fight, they could have taken it maybe a little bit cleaner on Village. After that, it was just, it's Colorado's game. We're just living in it. We're just talking about it because DePaul just didn't have a single answer for it. And you got to think, Kings Row coming up, you get worried because Kings Row, as we said, it's nicknamed Scrims Row. Like, teams know how to run this map. Teams play it all the time, and Colorado's practiced this time and time again. We'll have to see if DePaul can, pull something out. Maybe we see the statue strat come out. Maybe we see like a pirate ship even, maybe. Like, you got to throw something at the wall here that Colorado's not expecting because they read their hand that second round perfectly, and they just didn't put their foot off the pedal.
And I get worried for DePaul once again because the level of aggression we saw coming out from Colorado, they were holding, at least on that inner sanctum level, they were holding a little bit farther than we see teams conventionally hold because they were that confident over DePaul. Not only were they that confident, but that confidence really didn't seem unjustified based on how they were playing. They got a couple close fights. There was like a 2-6 team death rate on like the last or second to last fight. It didn't end up mattering though because Colorado just had that resilience to come back, and DePaul needs to really get their heads wrapped around what they want to do should that confidence, perhaps overconfidence if you want to look at it from that way for DePaul, comes through from Colorado's side.
Yeah, you gotta think, a team like Colorado, they're not going to get overconfident too much. But even a little bit there, they almost was holding spawn doors on DePaul. Like, you don't see it very often. So maybe they can catch them here and there, overextending, or somebody maybe not catching a rotation or something like that. But you got to pick up on those little mistakes. And you also got to limit yours. There was just so many times where somebody was off in no man's land or they were late to rotation. And Colorado, they're a good enough team. They're going to take the advantage of that so quick that you're not even going to be able to do anything. We saw it. They had 4 ultimates that they didn't even get to use in an actual fight because the fights were so quick because Colorado knows exactly when to punish you. So for DePaul, just the little things right now, you got to start getting them working if you got to try and avoid going down 0-2 in the series.
So far, Colorado definitely looking like that raid boss that we're going to be seeing, and DePaul, unfortunately, is kind of the prelude. That hero that we see, the raid boss just getting slayed down at the very beginning of the game, that, it kind of sets the precedent for everybody else who's going to be following, because, DePaul, not a terrible team in their own right, but Colorado, just one of those teams that sits on top with the crown on their head every time. And this is very clearly sending a message. Colorado very prepared, not letting themselves sleep, not resting on their laurels.
Yeah, they are just not settling for anything. They want excellence. They want to be that only undefeated team, and they want to be undefeated into playoffs. That's exactly what they want up to this point. You're 7-0, you're 2-0 in your own conference, so technically you're third in your conference only because there's 2 teams that have been 3-0 in your conference, but still, you're doing an excellent job up to this point. You just got to keep it going. I believe DePaul has 2 subs coming in, Obscure coming in and Noob coming in, so maybe something can pop up with the new subs coming in.
We might see a little bit of a shakeup here. These long-range characters coming in from Noob, I don't necessarily disagree with that. I think that, especially on this first point of Kings Row, you have a lot of opportunity to get those long-range shots. Volak, I think, is going to be a little bit more feast or famine, and against Colorado, I'm anticipating a little bit of hunger.
Yeah, I'm expecting that hunger to be there, and, as they're pushing in now, DePaul just going to look for anything here. Going to try and go around the statue. So far, nothing too much other than a fire strike, and, well, I guess a dead teammate.
Certainly nothing for the side of DePaul, but Colorado certainly finding that first kill right off the bat. Volak not going to be able to catch anybody out. That May, that Cassidy, going to be able to lock down that Doomfist the second they dive in. And oh no, the Hanzo trying to take a duel with Cloud, but Cloud not able to connect any shots. Fortunately, Ruby there to bail out our team once again. And Cloud might have to lock things down, tighten up just a little bit. Didn't suffer that time, but they might in the future.
Yeah, just gonna have to try and figure out, you know, if you can take advantage of that in the future. And DePaul, yeah, it's looking rough. I ain't gonna lie. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. It's looking rough. You have Volak back on the junk, which seems to be their comfort pick, but it doesn't stop you from a May wall. It's just, that was absolutely filthy from Funkmaster. We know last Kings Row in our first matchup of the day, we complained about the shatters not hitting. Not an issue at all for Funkmaster.
Funkmaster definitely laying down the beats and perhaps the most literal fashion. But now as we look, we get to kind of take a cue as to what the next ultimates are going to look like. We're seeing the Blizzard, we're seeing the Deadeye, and we're seeing the Amplification Matrix come out on the side of DePaul. So a couple of tools to play with here, but University of Colorado gets that first kill, so crucial. Divination taking down Noob, not going to be able to build towards those dragons, and then a nice shot onto Obscure. Looks like this is already locked in for Colorado for this fight.
Yeah, already locked in, and yeah, it's DePaul just can't seem to get their feet underneath them at this point. The aggression from Colorado is so calculated, and honestly, DePaul just doesn't know what to do up to this point. And you don't have many ults still. Yes, you have the window coming out from Mist, Chivius, and you got, I guess, Dragon Strike from Noob, but Cloud is hiding in theater, going to be trying to hide in your backline to get this Deadeye off. We'll see if anybody sees him. I don't think anybody's seen him quite yet, even though the Baptiste has jumped by a few times, and this may get ugly.
Everybody either forced into the grab or forced into the high noon. It's going to be Funkmaster taken down, as is Cloud. A huge opportunity for turnaround, but the Blizzard comes in and secures things for Colorado. Oh, we actually have a disconnect from Colorado. One of the supports taking a little bit of a drop, and that's so unfortunate. DePaul now going to have that respawn to come in, and University of Colorado lose that ultimate opportunity.
Yeah, they lose it. DePaul, they did get a few picks here. Like, we're going to look at it right now. They only have 2 alive. Yahoo and Bird Boys are in for Colorado. That is it that are on this defense. And DePaul, they have the player advantage right now to try and bring this back. So yes, you don't want it to be off a disconnect. You know, they got 2 picks before even the disconnect happened, but you got to take advantage of it. Even if it is something that, you know, you don't like taking advantage of, you can still cap this point, and then maybe you start getting that momentum just going a little bit more, and you never know what can happen. Oh, I think I can hear us back in the game, and yes, we are back.
Oh.
Seems like, yeah, they are. Everybody is back in, and DePaul, you're going to make their way to point.
DePaul are going to be starting to get some progress here, but Colorado, knowing that they stand a better chance, they just group up, they can give away a few ticks, but it's going to be the sound barrier coming in from Bird Boys. Divination not going to have that coalescence up and online. Of course, a nice Earth Shatter coming in from DePaul knocks down 3 members of Colorado, catching them with their pants around their ankles, perhaps just a little bit. Volak throwing in the Riptire as well, getting down Cloud, and it may have been a disconnect that started things off for DePaul, but that was actually a very good hold for the repush from Colorado.
Yeah, DePaul getting some action going here, able to cap it with 40 seconds left. We have a game here, maybe. And yeah, DePaul, yes, they used 5 ultimates that fight. I think if you count Noob, it's 6, but he's already 80% to the next Dragon Strike. But, you know, he's going to have the only ultimate on the board for this next fight. If you can use it wisely, and maybe that train goes a little bit faster as we continue on this map, and DePaul can maybe bring something.
Funkmaster has that Earth Shatter, does it? Excuse me, Zeph not able to keep eyes out for it. Funkmaster then able to go in for the pin. This is the aggression, the hammer of Colorado that we expected to be swung towards DePaul. The remaining DPS just trying to get out and away, but Cloud has different plans for it. Trying to connect onto the Lucio. Obscure. We can see Cloud getting a little bit frustrated here.
Yeah, Cloud's like, man, I should have hit that. Oh my, Ruby is almost in first point spawn.
Oh
She's
no.
She's gonna get DMAC'd. Yeah, I know that's gonna leave you, Ruby. Interesting. Yeah, they're gonna start pushing this. Ruby, not really sure what to do. Just gonna start making their way towards point. Nobody's coming from spawn, and yeah, she's gonna get focused down. Yeah, and taken out by DePaul. And again, those small little mistakes, those small overextensions, from Colorado, DePaul, to be fair to them, are taking advantage.
Oh, High Noon comes in, gets 2 kills off the back end. Cloud having some great discipline. Divination using that Coalescence to draw a lot of that attention, diverting from Cloud. It's going to be now the stagger onto Robot One Trick.
Oh, I thought Cloud was going to do it with like the flash or something, but no, Yahoo comes in, takes him out. That is... Granted, they kind of did it to Ruby as well, so both sides even. But that's nice right to Paul. They have... They're going to have all 6 ults almost once Obscure and a Robot One Trick get theirs. Colorado going to be very similar. They're going to have 3, maybe 4 coming up if Funkmaster can build that Shatter in time. So maybe an ult fest on point, but you can't use too much if you're DePaul.
Yahoo going to be starting things off. Only needs to use 1. That Riptire getting 2, and Noob going to have to try to reclaim some kills back, but they're not going to be able to do it fast enough. Colorado tearing asunder their opponents.
Yeah, they are just not letting DePaul breathe at this point, it seems like. And yes, it is a 1-for-0 tray, but now Funkmaster has theirs. Yeah, who's maybe getting a little bit too cocky there, trying to get some extra early ult shards there, and gonna be sending Yahoo all the way back to the spawn room. And now Boulder gonna be looking for a nice black shatter. Tire's destroyed, but still DePaul getting the picks.
Yeah, Colorado has to back up, and they can do so safely because they have Bird Boys ferrying their Reinhardt. It's going to be Ruby holding the front line, and you can't honestly think of a better person to hold at this rate based on the performance we've seen her have, getting 1 with the self-destruct. Yahoo as well with the Doomfist looking to cut a swath in. Safe able to take down Ruby with that pin with a little bit of the hammer swing. Self-destruct goes out onto point, and this is so many ultimates, so many resources being committed just to get this cart moving a little bit farther. Oh, Noob actually eating the fist. Zev going to be throwing the charge in, saving their teammate, or at least avenging their teammates. The High Noon coming in from Cloud. Risky given that amplification matrix, but will pay off with the kill into the Baptiste. Boulder going to be holding right at this second crook, and now it's going to be DePaul who have to pass this line in the sand.
I thought Cloud was for sure dead using that Deadeye. He has a window staring him in the face. And he's like, nah, I'm going to wait it out. I'm going to wait Immort out. Breaks, takes out the Baptiste. And great, I don't know if that would have changed the fight if he's taken out, but that is balls of steel right there from Cloud. And Colorado, yes, they had their few little hiccups, maybe with over-aggression and maybe some overconfidence, but they are still locked and loaded. And now I want to see them really try something. I want to see the Bastion teleport because I know they can do it. Maybe have Ruby go on to that Sigma to get up there. Maybe Cloud on that Bastion and Yahoo onto the Symmetra. But I don't know. We have to wait and see. You know, good. Ooh, double sniper. Maybe Cloud can get some picks early. I like it. I like it.
Of course, Cloud wasn't doing so well on the McCree. A lot of times we saw him getting quite frustrated with the mechanical skill. At least it seemed like they were getting frustrated with the mechanical skills they were putting out. Maybe they're just putting on a show for us. If so, I appreciate it, Cloud. If not, I think the Widowmaker is a good call, a good switch. The opportunity to be a little bit more flick-focused instead of having to worry about that consistent fire.
Yeah, doesn't really have too much to do. And yeah, maybe, as you said a few times, just kind of flicking the mouse around like, man, like, no, they should be hitting those shots. But, you know, a little bit more select on when you're going to be shooting. Maybe that'll be better for Cloud here as we're going to be taking a look on them as they peek out here. Maybe they can find something. But, oh, they find the Winston off on the right side and probably going to push top right now, knowing that they're there, going to wait for them to rotate out. And I guess Zep just doesn't rotate. Yeah, they're just going to press W now.
And now Boulder pretty much can contest this point without too much threat. DePaul only going to have that Tracer, only going to have that Sombra to do the lion's share of the damage. And granted, that lion's share still seems to have a little bit of roar in it as they do get a couple of kills, but it doesn't look enough to get Colorado quite off the point, especially since you're talking about dealing with these tanks. Ruby eventually does go down. DePaul, with the Winston, able to get that quick regroup or that quick setup back onto point. Those leaps get him quite a distance, and Yahoo gonna try to get away with their lives. Rewinds back into the hotel. Now just trying to fight back in through that main choke point. Does so with 12 HP into the health pack.
Yeah, but props to DePaul, DePaul University for bringing that back. I thought as soon as Zeph fell, you know, this time he's going to be able to jump out in time, that, you know, they were at risk of losing this very early. But, you know, I made it off the clock. You make Colorado make a few swaps, and now You can re-enter this fight, but getting your pulse bomb eaten is not a great start.
Not fantastic, but taking down your opposing Tracer might make up for it, especially if that Tracer is Yahoo. We've seen tear up time and time again, but this time it's going to be Colorado, the rest of Colorado, who are tearing up. Ruby getting danced around, eventually getting demeched, and this is not an impervious Colorado as we're seeing. This is definitely a Colorado that has some cracks in the armor.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of rust in the armor that's developing some cracks. I don't think anything they can't fix here. But hey, DePaul
Oh,
can
no.
come back in. EMP goes down. Sound barrier though does not hit Bird Boys, and now Colorado with all that extra health just gonna put the shadow down.
Oh man, and what a crucial time. Funkmaster getting brought dangerously low. On the plus side, if you're DePaul, you pulled at least a couple of ultimates. You pulled Bird Boys, you pulled Funkmaster, you pulled Cloud. I'm pretty sure you pulled Divination as well. Yahoo is still going to hold on to that Pulse Bomb, but now DePaul has a few more resources.
Yeah, no, they have a few coming back, and yes, you have to hold this for 4 minutes. And it's not ideal by any stretch of the imagination, but it's doable. And Yahoo going to be looking for an early pulse bomb on somebody trying to come back from far spawn. And they are going to get scouted out. And they're just going to be able to back up with Cloud covering some fire here. You know, already D-Mac comes through,
no.
and there's the ski, and there goes the Lucio.
An ugly kill. Pulse Bomb goes out. Funkmaster able to not quite shield it, but still allowing Divination to get that kill with the anti-grenade to come through. And now Ruby going to take up this high ground position, just keeping a literal overwatch onto the rest of the entry points for DePaul. And DePaul really is going to have to work to try to get somebody to contest here, but contest all at the same time. You don't want to suffer these staggers if you don't have to. Volak, I believe, was the one to touch, so they could translocate out fairly safely. Self-destruct, however, is on the table for Colorado. That Tracer just trying to, or excuse me, Ruby trying to prevent that Tracer from killing the Ana. Eventually kills Robot One Trick on Remech. Noob taking down Bird Boys means, again, no healing amp, no speed amp, no quick adjustments from Colorado. Although it doesn't seem Colorado's quite going to need it. They are slowly edging out this victory.
Yes, slowly edging out, dealing with these staggers on point. The Shatter and Diva Bomb over the top just for the finishing touch. Colorado win Kings Row pretty convincingly, 2-1, and take the series lead at 2-0 and play the game. Who else? Funkmaster hitting those Shatters on Reinhardt's probably best map. And yeah, this was the one that made both of us just question everything. Hit kills 2 with the actual hammer itself. And then the rest kind of just develops on from there. But again, there's a little bit of the rust in the armor. We both kind of saw a little bit here and there with maybe like Ruby like at point A spawn on the defense. Maybe not sure about that one. But other than that, this Colorado team is just looking better than ever.
I definitely think I agree, and folks, we're not going to be taking a break. We're just going to go straight into it. These games have been blazing by a little bit fast. Would like some time for my neck to kind of recover from the whiplash I'm experiencing in comparison to this and the last game, but it's okay. I'll just put some ice on it after we're done here casting. Twin Salty, don't shed any tears for me. But either way, Colorado looking to parlay this into a third map win, get it one done and dusted just like that. And DePaul are going to at least want to try to cling back whatever they can. We do know that Hanamura is going to be our next map, so maybe get that first point captured, maybe get a full 2 points captured, even if you can't get the map win. That's a pin to put in your hat against Colorado.
Yeah, honestly, you take the small victories against this Colorado team. Again, they are the only undefeated team left. The only team that they have not 3-0'd was UT Arlington, who they are scheduled to play next week in a rematch. But considering that every other team they've played, they've 3-0'd, I don't think it's that bad of a game so far from DePaul. Yes, both teams are rusty. You're coming back from winter break where you're maybe not playing as much. And if you have facilities, you're not playing your facilities with your teammates. You're at home with, you know, your home internet and family. We all know how that goes. So it's like, yes, you're trying to get back into the groove of things. And I think Colorado's done a decent job up to this point. But honestly, DePaul, all things considered, they've gotten back into this game and back into the groove, say, a little bit faster than what Colorado has.
I would agree. I think that, you know, it seems to me natural that when you have a higher skill team and they don't play for a while, there's a little bit of fall off that can happen. I feel like if there's a team that's really high skill and a team that's really low skill, the fall off for the low skill team's not going to be as great for the high skill team because you have so many skills you have to learn, you have to keep refined if you're at that high tier level. And it only makes sense that DePaul, you know, would come back not as affected by this break, and we start to see that a little bit more evidently in Colorado. That being said, I still hold true. I still think that they're developing and kind of overcoming that in these moments where we can see from map to map very well.
Yeah, just trying to. If you're DePaul, you just got to find those little holes that you can maybe poke in, and then just try and expand them as much as you can before Colorado slams them shut. Colorado on the attack, they're going to be running basically the same look that they had on DePaul Village here. I was saying Cloud teased it for a second. They went to the Bastion, but
Oh,
they're going to go back onto the Ash, which they just hit a nasty headshot off the rip, and DePaul definitely have a lot of work to do if they want to win this. But, with the Torb, I don't think it's a straight counter to Yahoo, which is a good start.
Noob, however, an arrow apparently is going to be a great counter to Divination. That Torb almost getting taken down, but Volak having the overdrive to keep themselves alive and get a little bit more armor. DePaul does lose 2 members now, and that's going to make their defense a lot less sturdy here. We can see Noob once again taking down Divination, but it's not going to be enough. Ruby getting ejected, but DePaul not able to hold really at all here on first.
Yeah, they had Obscure die early, and they allowed Bird Boys to get the res on Divination, who is now swapped on Lucio. But it's not pretty. In this game entirely, Colorado is just doing exactly what they want to do, and DePaul has had little to zero resistance so far. Zeph now onto the Winston, going to try and maybe deal with Cloud to a bit. Nice shot from Volak, though. Take out Divination. Bird Boy's going to get the res, and now Boulder can go back into this fight as Colorado looks to capture this with a lot of time left.
Credit where it's due to DePaul. It looks like they're kind of getting a very good read as to the angles that Boulder wants to take. In fact, taking down Cloud. These leaps coming in from Zafe, immediately getting countered by Boops, by the coach guns, but able to take down Bird Boys. That is a nice shot coming in from Noob. And DePaul able to hold this, not investing any of those ultimates. This is a really good sign for them on this second point. Granted, they still have 5 minutes to go, but, you have to put one foot in front of the other.
Yeah, progress is progress. It takes a long time to be able to ride a bike. DePaul's getting there. They've gotten a few pedals in before they fell over. Now maybe with a little bit of mom or dad's assistance, they can, continue pushing on this defense as Mom goes in the back, and Robot Chick goes right into the mines once they get out of the mech.
A little bit of an unfortunate spot. Yahoo throwing out the pulse bomb, not able to find too much with it, takes down the immortality field. Noob able to get one, but they're going to have to wait for the rest of their team. And able to get a second as well. That Tracer not going to be able to dip and dash around on point, and if they're able to get a couple more kills onto Colorado before those respawns come in, that is going to be vital and crucial at the same time. Volak throwing out the welcome mat, creating so much threat on this zone, but it's not any that the tanks have to play within, meaning that the tanks still able to play pretty confidently here. Ruby gets demexed, Funkmaster eventually broken down. The Dragons come out a little bit late. I hope Noob's going to plan for a switch, otherwise we're just not seeing great communication between the fight for DePaul.
Yeah, and again, if you're DePaul, another minute's off the clock. Yes, you gave up 2 ticks, they're at 83%. But you made them swap a few things around. It's something, and at this point, to rescue your mental, you take any of these little things that you're making them change because of how you're playing. Yes, you don't have a ton this fight, but neither do they. Obscure are going to be looking to use that rally early, and you cannot let them chill on point like you did last time, as, yeah, Zeph already going to have to use the Primal.
Primal is going to come through. Wrecking Ball bombs as well. Robot One Trick now going to be put into Baby Diva form. Volak dangerously low, but Zeph trying to hop into the back lines and cause some havoc, but that means nobody's on point to defend. Nobody's going to be that stalwart tank just holding possession here. And
Zeph, you got to top.
That is so unfortunate, and it's exactly why you play those hit scans so far away, because if somebody contests, they're not on point to prevent the capture.
Yeah, as soon as I saw them jump up, I'm like, well, there's the map, because they needed to stall, I think, probably for like a second or two for Robot One Trick to get back into the fight. And at that point, yes, you never know what's going to happen. You rotate touches, but it's definitely not the way you want to lose. I lose a round, I should say. And DePaul, is there any last trick under the hat, or is the Magician ran out of tricks to try and at least stay in this game? And Colorado I'm running out of compliments for this team because they're just so good at what they're doing. And Bird Boys has been excellent on the Mercy. They're gonna be running the pharmacy now with Ruby on that Sigma as well. So the Sigma ball look, we've seen a little bit more action of as of recent, especially in some of these preseason tournaments. And we saw a little bit in contenders and contenders trials and open division last fall and last summer, but it is still very good. You can just cause chaos in the backline with Funkmaster and DePaul. I'm not sure. Or the Orisa Rhine, may I think just because they're going to try and either teleport top left or teleport straight to point and try and just lock themselves in that point.
Going to be very difficult. Normally, when you go for those teleport strats, you use something like a Casty, you use something like a Mei, something that allows you to, fight within that very claustrophobic space, or just immediately die to a Junkrat, as University of Colorado is going to prove. Colorado having a read on it, and not only do they get a kill, but now they're going to be very aware of that sim strat. Cloud has to back out just to avoid that shield, almost landing the DI combo, but Noob popped into the air with Cloud, allows for the nice lineup of some shots, and Boulder is still buying time off the clock thanks to that very forward hold, and perhaps a little bit of short-sightedness from DePaul, who still aren't switching off the sim.
Yeah, not swapping off. Yeah, they just boop him away. I think only one got to the point, but a nice shot from Noob, who was just chilling up top, and it allows the rest of his team to get to point. There's the first tick. Can DePaul maybe get a second tick on this? Not quite yet, as it will be the stalls coming in, but so far a lot better from DePaul.
Very interested to see how Zeph plays on this Orisa against that Wrecking Ball. That Wrecking Ball going to have a tough time, but apparently Robot One Trick just going to throw them off the map instead. Now the Sigma trying to come in and touch. Bird Boy's not able to keep them alive. It's up to this far up, trying to do as much damage, but Yahoo eventually taken down. And I was questioning Noob on this Hanzo, but they came to deliver.
Yeah, they delivered. They got that crucial headshot on the Yahoo that completely changes the tide of that fight, because it goes from, oh, we only had a few people actually make it through teleporter, half of us are stuck at choke, to, oh, Far is dead, we can move forward without worrying about someone in the air shooting us the entire time. And now, as we go in, they had basically the same exact timetable as Colorado did on their B offense.
You see immediately Cloud going in for the Riptire, taking one down in Volak, but it's going to be the res coming in from DePaul, as well as Cloud. I didn't think they were in a resable spot, but Boulder has shown me otherwise, so no real loss coming in from either team. DePaul having quite a few ultimates on the line. It's going to be the rotation trying to come in, but Volak hitting Yahoo with the dodgeball. The Mercy Valk almost gets taken down, but not quite. The focus fire isn't there. And this is an optimistic amplification matrix given all the resources they're putting into this and the numbers that they've already lost.
Yeah, I'm not so sure if I would have used window, just because, yeah, you already lost a few members. You are stuck up there as well. There's nowhere for you to go, and Cloud can just fire grenades up from below, and it's the end of the fight. So, DePaul, you still have 4 ultimates. Going to have the 5th one coming from your Mercy soon here, as she is about 20% away from that Valkyrie. But if you're going to win a fight, this is the fight you need to win. You have such an ultimate advantage. You need to take advantage of it, and if you do, you could even have time back.
Love to see that Ana go down before that Nano can go out. We see Zafe immediately throw down the shield, trying to prevent a lot of damage, and to their credit, it does prevent a bit, but Ruby coming in with the Gravitic Flux takes down Volak. Yahoo getting halted, doesn't get capitalized upon. However, Funkmaster, the only one to go down to that Earth-Shattered DePaul, doesn't quite have the gas in the tank this fight.
Yeah, just they couldn't commit. It's kind of like what we were talking about last game with RIT on this map. It's just they're so slow to try and get done what they want. And now you got a few swaps coming in. Noob is going to go onto the Cassidy, Robot One Trick onto the Sigma. Try and match the one of Ruby. And it at least seems like, you know, the pick so far from Noob. Nice little pull there from Zeph, but the Noob swap works so far. But it just seems they're a little slow to use ultimates, and they really don't use them together that much. He was kind of like, oh, use one, and then I use one. And with this Riptire going behind, it only needs the one.
Especially if that one is going to be mischievous on the Mercy. DePaul really going to have to back up and out of there, and that is so unfortunate. We saw the slow speed coming out when Divination fell, and DePaul just not quite able to get themselves back up and into it. A real lost opportunity I'm a little disappointed to see.
Yeah, I could have taken more advantage of it, but not able to this time around as the time bank officially in the favor of Colorado if we do end up going to an overtime period. Which, that
Oh.
was gross from Cloud. Able to get one. Obscure is going to get taken out when Mischievous is getting the res. And Cloud is living rent-free in the back line of DePaul. And yeah, they really can't do anything about it.
They really can't. And we see them actively trying. And you can't necessarily blame DePaul for trying to flush out Cloud, but Cloud just seems to break the ankles of this team. Getting the trap triggered, amazing that Total Mayhem didn't actually end up taking down Noob on the Cassia. They may have had some healing preventing that, but this is going back to, I want to say vintage Colorado, but when I say vintage, I just mean what we saw last map with them getting so aggressive towards point.
Yeah, they're being extremely aggressive right now. They're pushing almost the first part. Cloud is still in the back. Granted, Colorado has no supports right now. Tyre's going to get used. Can it find somebody? They're all pushing point. They all went through the teleporter. Going to try and find somebody. Hey, it still finds two.
It still finds two, and that Tyre had 2 HP when it was left dead. If it had waited just a moment longer, that sim turret would have cleaned it up. And speaking of which, DePaul still playing this sim. A little bit of a questionable opportunity here, but the nano boost coming on to Funkmaster, looking to put a lot of hurt down, get those mines into the pocket of the Wrecking Ball. Takes down Robot, one trick, the Gravitic Flux, not able to connect in finality. And now with Mischievous just trying to get away, pulls out the Glock onto Divination, but that's about it.
Yeah, and at this point of view, DePaul, it's like, all right, what do we try next? Because they've tried 2 or 3 different looks, and they just haven't worked. They finally found Cloud in their backline again. Newbie will take them out. Cloud finally returns to their side of the map for maybe the first time in 2 minutes. And DePaul, you just gotta go top. Maybe you can get, like, I'm not even sure. Maybe Bongo you can use with Deadeye, but it's just so hard to tell what you're going to actually be able to do.
We do know that DePaul needs to make a break towards point and not lose anybody early, but Volak gonna be falling. It's gonna be the turbocharger coming out, but Noob so worried about that tracer that they have to keep taking those peeks around the hallway, not getting the full value for the turbocharger. Now, Cloud just hanging a very sharp angle, throwing a lot of pills, a lot of concussion mines into this turf. And DePaul looking so scattered, so timid right now that they don't seem to really want to make an aggressive move, even though they only have 15 seconds.
Yeah, they only have 15 seconds. They really can't do anything. Noob will...
Oh, no.
He gets out for a second. Yeah, but the dive comes in from Funkmaster and Yahoo. Tigger's going to come down. They're going to be able to trigger overtime, but how much is it actually able to do? We'll have to kind of wait and find out. Here comes the minefield.
The mine's definitely going to limit what this team can do. Immediate kills going all the way of Colorado. Mines, tires, explosives all over the place. Overtime even going to be burning down just like the fuse. And with that, Colorado, to no surprise, coming up victorious. I say to no surprise, but there were moments where DePaul shines.
It's getting to that point. I think that's kind of how DePaul is feeling after that one. It's just nothing going their way. And there are a few glimpses here and there as this was amazing. Look how fast they build this ultimate as well. They have Tyre this next coming fight because of how quickly they were able to build it and how much value they got just from shooting above them during that fight. Colorado, they're back to their old ways, man. If you're any team in the EGF, especially if you're in the Central region, watch out. This team, I don't see it stopping anytime soon, man. It's hard to find weaknesses on this team when they're playing at 100%.
I have to agree, especially with the part where you said if you're any team that's looking to go up against Colorado, you will want to look at this matchup. I think that's especially true if we look at Arlington, who you've been talking about it all this matchup, has an opportunity next week to try to take the crown from Colorado, take that flawless, shiny trophy that they have of a pristine record and put just a little bit of a scratch in it. And this is going to be an essential opportunity to get perhaps some much needed information. I wouldn't be surprised if Colorado's also doing the same to Arlington against their opponents today. Either way, we're going to get into the head of Colorado here in just a little bit on the other end of this break. We are going to be taking a brief interview with one of the members, so make sure you stick around, folks. Hello, folks, and welcome back once again. Sir Waltham Twin Salty here, but we have with us Cloud for a fantastic interview. Cloud, hello, welcome, congratulations.
Thank you. How are you guys today?
We are doing pretty well. I myself doing very well after watching that fantastic game played between you and your opposition here today. And I want to ask, because it's something that me and Twin Salty have been talking about pretty much all day since we've been on broadcast. I'm sure the audience is sick of it, but we've had quite a big break between, last time we've played games here at EGF and, this week's games.
Yeah,
Has that affected Colorado in any sort of capacity in terms of, we call it gameplay rust, but in terms of that kind of vulnerability?
I think we have reverse gameplay rust actually. When we take breaks, we always come back and we're just trying like a lot harder. And ever since we've gotten back from like winter break and stuff, and we've been scrimming like really high SR teams, and it seems like our fundamentals and our teamwork is just like starting to get like kind of scary good. So yeah, I think the break really helped us, and we're glad to be back playing a game every week.
And along those lines, since you guys say that you feel that you've actually gotten stronger since that winter break, did that kind of give you that reinforcement in your mental game to not be like, oh hey, we're gonna take it easy this time, or what was the mentality? Was it aggressive? Was it a little bit more getting settled in? What was it like from at least your point of view?
Probably more aggressive. We are number one, and we're gonna stay number one, and we're dedicated to winning all of our games the second semester as well. So, yeah, definitely more aggressive than anything else.
That's what we like to see. And I got to point out something. We kind of talked about it during the break. You on Junkrat, this entire game was just fantastic. And then we were showcasing it on stream. We kind of highlighted you for a little bit. You were just in their backline for like 2 minutes. Like, what was going through your head at that point? Because like
um,
you have no help.
yeah. To be honest, not a lot was going through my head. There was no big brain flank strat. It was just go to spawn door for clout, and I did that. I think I succeeded. But sometimes I like to do that too, because if you can just like get a pick or two in the spawn door, like the team can just get really frustrated and it can boom their mental, and then it can start to snowball into more people flanking. Like our Ana, divination, he was flanking too, and just like I don't know. It is what it is. There's no strat going on. It's just flanking.
Just having fun, getting back used to it.
Yeah, and Junkrat can like do the concussion mine with the grenade and just kill any squishy. So I was kind of fishing for that. Um, and yeah, it's really tilting to go against. So that's why I did that.
I cannot imagine what DePaul's comms were as they're probably screaming we have a junk in our back line. But kind of going ahead to next week, one of the most I think intriguing matches of all of next week, it's a rematch of you guys against UT Arlington.
Yeah,
What is your thoughts on that? Because last time that's the only team that's took a map off you this entire
yeah.
season.
We're actually really excited to play them. Like, um, challenges are way more fun than roles, and adapting to a team over the course of a series is something that we're pretty damn good at. So, if they can take a map or two off of us, it'll be really fun and really a really exciting series. So,
All right.
yeah.
Any bold predictions for next weekend before we let you do some shout outs?
Uh, Rio.
Rio.
But um, my shout outs are just everyone on the team. Our new coach, we got a new coach 2 weeks ago. His name is Spoons, and he's been encouraging us a lot. Our manager Gavin is great. All the CU stands in the chat. I love you. Go follow my stream at CloudOW, and that's about it for me.
All right. Well, fantastic. Cloud, once again, thank you for hopping in here, answering a few of our questions. And in case you don't hear it enough this season, congratulations.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You too.
You too.
And Twin, unfortunately, that is about all the gameplay we have lined up here for us on this channel. However, folks, I do believe if you go to our official EGF channel, University of Montana versus U Hawaii is still raging on. Likewise, EGF2, or excuse me, slash official EGF2 for Iona College versus Rider U. Make sure you tune in there if you're wanting more collegiate Overwatch action. Don't forget to tune in tomorrow for some CSGO on slash official EGF. And once again, from all of us here at EGF, we want to thank you for watching. And until next time, stay safe and take care, everyone.
Peace.